Sorry, sorry about that. I had mic muted. Salute to everyone. Salute to everyone. Good evening and welcome to the First and 10 College Football Kickoff Show Friday night version. It's week 11. We got some very, very important matchups. Okay, someone echoing. We got some we got some very important matchups this weekend that we're going to discuss here this evening with playoff implications on the line. And we have two very entertaining matchups this evening, a Big Ten matchup and an ACC matchup. But first things first, let me salute the panel. Sniper D True, salute, salute, salute. Happy Friday to you, fellas. Happy Friday.
All I know is Veterans Weekend. Tomorrow's the Marine Corps birthday, and Monday is Veterans Day. Sunday is Veterans. Monday's Veterans Day. So, hey, to all my veterans, I salute you. But we're gonna get this football on first and foremost.
Salute to all the men and women that served in our United States military. Salute, salute, salute. Happy Veterans Day weekend this weekend to you. Enjoy your weekend. Have a blessed weekend. You deserve it. Salute D True. Dude D True. Salute to you, bro. Yeah, he having technical difficulties. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get on
I
into.
hear you. I'm just doing something. You know what I'm doing.
Oh,
Ain't
okay.
nobody.
Oh, okay. We're gonna go ahead and get into the broadcast. We got a Big Ten matchup. We have Iowa traveling to Pasadena in the San Gabriel Mountains and taking on UCLA. That should be entertaining. I remember growing up as a kid and watching that game on New Year's Day. That would be a Rose Bowl matchup back in the days. And whoever got TV playing in the background is kind of drowning out the audio. Drown out the audio a little bit. But yeah, that would be a Rose Bowl matchup back in the days. But that is going to be entertaining. Salute to you, Kenny and Lauren Jones. Salute, 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 salute. Happy Veterans Day to you, brother. Happy Veterans Day weekend to you. And we also have an ACC matchup. Both of these games, you have bowl eligibility on the line. Wake Forest and Cal traveling to Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm sorry, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I get those two mixed up sometimes. Uh, Cal traveling to Winston-Salem, North Carolina to take on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. That should be a very entertaining matchup. Both of those teams have lost close games this season, games that could have went either way. Um, but you know, I think those both of those programs are on the come up. Wake Forest actually has been knocking on the door the last few years of winning the ACC title. They just couldn't get past Clemson and they couldn't get past Florida State. But they've been competitive in quite a few games this season, so they're still trying to get bowl eligible. Cal, Iowa, I think Iowa's already bowl eligible, but UCLA is trying to get there. So there you have it, the Friday night matchups. Now we're gonna go on in to our Q&As, and if anybody has anything else they want to add to it regarding these games before we go into the Q&As.
I think the Cal and Iowa game is going to be really really exciting to watch because like you said, they're both on the edge of bowl eligibility. Uh, but Cal is going to try to make a statement tonight.
Okay.
You think?
Yeah. Whatever that is playing in the background is kind of drowning you out. It got you sounding like you're in a tunnel. But I understood what you were saying. Yeah, Cal needs to make a statement tonight. UCLA also needs to make a statement tonight. So that is going to be a that is going to be interesting. Cal started the year off started the year off nice. They just ran into a few trap games. that could have gone either way, and they just wasn't able to overcome certain situations. But we'll see what happens tonight. So we're going to go on into our Q&As. Let me do a shift here. All right. Everyone just bear with me here. Okay, we are. Okay, we're going into our Q&As, and the first question here. The int is, and this is a good one here, fellas. Let's see. You having technical difficulties. You were fine when you was up here earlier. I hope this works. Whatever you just did. The Indiana Hoosiers will make the CFP playoffs. I'm going to start off with you first, Sniper. Yes or no?
I think they will. They're going to be a very low seed, probably 10, 11. But I think they do have the opportunity to make the playoffs if they stay healthy and they continue playing in the Indiana Hoosier football and not try to do more than what they're capable of doing.
Okay. I would have to agree with you there. They go in there into Ann Arbor, take care of business against Michigan. They're in, regardless of what happened with Ohio State. But I will say this: I think they can get a higher seed and maybe host a playoff game if they take care of business tomorrow and perform. Either put it like this: either beat Ohio State or make it a close game, like an overtime loss or Ohio State winning by a field goal. It can't be a beatdown. It can't be something like what Notre Dame did to Army. It can't be anything like that. It would have to be if they play Ohio State toe to toe, very
You mean Notre
very
Dame did to Notre Dame did to Navy?
yeah. I'm
I
sorry what
mean
Notre Dame
Notre
did.
Dame.
Yeah, what Notre Dame did to Navy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everyone. What Notre Dame did to Navy. Um, they would get a possible home game, probably like a 6, maybe a 7th seed or something like that. Because you got to realize they're going this deep into the season undefeated. If they take care of business against Michigan, play a very close game against Ohio State, a competitive game, put points on the board against that Ohio State defense. That committee will give them a nice seeding. It won't be like a 10 or 11 or 9 or something like that. It would be 5, 6, or 7 or 8. That's where you want to be. That's where you want to be if you're not getting a bye. And any pushbacks?
Yeah.
Like I said, go ahead.
No. Go ahead because you haven't had a
Yeah,
chance to
yeah.
speak
Go
yet.
ahead. Go ahead while you up here before you drop back down. Go ahead.
Yeah. Like I said, all any other gotta do keep doing what they've been doing. Playing their football game, make people play their game. Don't play their game. Don't play the other team game. That's all they gotta do. Keep playing their game. So I don't see nothing Indiana need to change. It's been working. So what? Fix something that's not broken yet.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Salute to you, 225 girl. I think Indiana's playing very good football. I love what they're doing on offense and defense. I think actually, in my opinion, from my eye test, they would be a much better matchup against Ohio State. Penn State against Ohio State than Penn State was last week. Penn State is too one dimensional. Their passing attack centers around the tight end. and their running game is not really consistent. They have a good defense. Penn State has a good defense. Yes, 225 girl, go Dogs. They have a very good defense, but that offense is suspect. Indiana, however, they have an offense. They can put points up on the board, and I think that would be a great matchup between Indiana and Ohio State. But first things first, they can't get caught looking ahead. They can't get caught looking ahead. They got to take care of business up in Ann Arbor tomorrow.
I'm gonna give you a little bit of pushback. I somewhat agree with you about Penn State being one dimensional, but you got to think too. Penn State hung with Ohio State that whole game, and if Penn State would have made a better decisions on that last drive to that last drive and ran the ball, throw the ball, ran the ball, run the ball, they would have probably beat Ohio State last weekend. But
Well,
I do agree with you when you say Indiana they are great on offense, defense, and special teams. I agree with what you say there, but I don't know if I could say that it would be a better matchup because again, Penn State lost in the last minute and 15 seconds of the game.
well, I'll say this, okay. What Ohio State was vulnerable at, Penn State was not able to take advantage of. Penn State was not able to move the ball on the ground, and that is why they had problems scoring. They really couldn't score on offense. So remember that touchdown was a pick six. Other than that, they were kicking field goals most of the day. That game shouldn't have been that close. Remember, if Will Howard would have just held on to the ball right before halftime, Ohio State probably would have won the game by 10, maybe 14 points. So that
I mean,
score, I know everybody see what the score is, but Ohio State really dominated that game more than what the score said. Penn State could not move the ball on Ohio State's defense because their offense is suspect. Their offense has been suspect this entire season. In order to beat a team like Oregon and Ohio State, you got to be able to put the points on the board. And I think this Indiana team is a lot more equipped to do that than Penn State was.
let me ask you this real quick. It's going to be a 2-point question. Who would you rather have, Penn State's offense or Indiana offense? And
Indiana.
think, or okay, that's the first part. And then the second part is Penn State defense, Indiana defense.
I can't. I won't know until after tomorrow because Penn State. Who have they beaten? Who have they beaten? They beat Illinois, but Oregon made Illinois look like a JV team.
But so who has Indiana beaten?
That's what I'm saying. We won't know. We won't really know about Indiana until tomorrow. But you got to
Okay.
realize now, Indiana put a beat down on the Nebraska team. They moved the ball at will on Nebraska, where Ohio State in Columbus, in the horseshoe, had a hard time moving the ball against that same Nebraska defense. And that Nebraska offense, Dylan Raiola, they couldn't do nothing, absolutely nothing with that Indiana defensive front. That Indiana defensive front was all over Dylan Raiola. But Raiola had his way with Ohio State's defensive front. If it wasn't for a few mistakes or drop balls or, Rule made whoever the offensive coordinator is with Nebraska made some critical errors in the play calling at the end of the game. I think if they would have been a little bit more creative on that goal line play, they probably would have scored and had an upset against Ohio State. But I'm looking at common opponents, brother. Indiana is for real because Ohio State barely escaped Nebraska, and Indiana dragged Nebraska for 60 minutes straight. Did true? How do you feel about that, man?
Yeah, I was looking at their common opponent, which was Nebraska, and I'm gonna look at the. I'm gonna look at something right quick. Here's the game.
Salute to you,
and
CP3. Happy Friday to you, brother.
and I'm looking at the stats, right? I'm looking at the stats. Third down, they held Ohio State held Penn State 3 for 11 on third down, right?
Mm-hmm.
That mean Ohio State had the ball for, and the time of possession was pretty much even with 2 minutes and something separated difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State on rush the ball 176 times to 120 to Penn State, which Penn State should have rushed the ball for more than that. And where I look at it, it's on an 80 some yards difference from total offense. So Ohio State is not who people think they is. Did Penn State play above their level against Ohio State? I think they did. Did Ohio State play below their level against Penn State? I think they did. So it kind of balanced both teams out. So
All right. Okay. Uh so I guess we can go on to the next one
Yes,
here.
sir. We can. We can move. Everybody made good, valid points.
All right. Next question. Florida Florida's AD made an announcement uh in an email yesterday that they would be keeping Bill and Napier at least for another season. Uh so Florida deciding to keep Billy Napier as the head coach is a good move, yes or no? CP3 UGA went on the road to Austin and upset the number one ranked Texas team, brother. Let me repeat that again. Georgia went on the road on a Saturday night into Austin, Texas, and beat a team that everybody on ESPN declared was unbeatable this year. Not only did we beat them, we dominated them. Thank you. All right. Yeah, and
Who you
y'all
got?
almost lost to Idaho. Oregon almost lost to Idaho too. Let's not forget that. Florida decided to keep Billy Napier as the head coach is a good move. Yes or no? What do you think?
Oh, he's not. Dietrich's not on here. Oh, okay. I was
No,
waiting to
no.
see. If he, okay. You know what? Seeing what he did with Lagway before Lagway got hurt, and how this team has had a good turnaround.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good thing that they kept him and not had a knee jerk reaction to get rid of him because a one starting off bad season.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, you give these folks, you don't give these coaches the opportunity to actually turn a program around. Everybody wants it right now, but
Mm-hmm.
it takes time. It takes time. Look at our coach. He 3 years within 3 years in, we should have. He was still, he didn't win a national championship his first 2 years there, but he made improvements until he got his national championship.
Mm-hmm.
So give Napier another opportunity. He has a good quarterback. His defense is getting there. Um, his recruiting staff, or the recruits that he got last year, will be ready for next year. Give him an opportunity.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a good move. Right now there's really nobody out there. Rumors have it that Ole Miss is about to they're about to offer Kiffin a lifetime contract. They're going to do everything in their power to keep him there because Kiffin is pretty much the best head coach that Ole Miss has had in my lifetime. in my lifetime, and that's including Hugh Freeze and Houston Nutt. The man has had them in New Year's Six bowl games, have come this close because he couldn't get past that. He couldn't get past Bama, couldn't get past Georgia. If he would have won one of them games last year, they would have been in the playoffs easily. Um, so I'm hearing 11 million, somewhere between 11 million, 12 million a year for Lane Kiffin. So they probably saw Florida's not going to pay that much because the thing about Florida, they rash out the money to other sports. They're not just a football school. They put money into the basketball program. They put money into the baseball program. They put money into the softball program, the women's gymnastics. Uh, the women's soccer team. So they spread the money out amongst all the other athletics programs, football, basketball. They're not just strictly football. So you're not really going to be able to get a big name head coach. So this guy's recruiting. He's recruiting well. Those players are very scrappy. He don't have a bunch of 5 stars, but he got some players with some heart. And I found that we all found that out as Dogs fans. What we saw in Jacksonville, those kids have heart. I mean, the starters were going down, the backups were coming in, even some of the players from on the practice squad were coming in, and they showed heart, and I admire that. And watching that, when Lagway went down, that team did not fold. This is the reason why I say it's a good move, Sniper, because when Lagway went down and those two O linemen went down, and and they lost their two backup defensive backs, they kept playing. They kept fighting. And that is a reflection of who their head coach is. So I like the move. I think if they give them a little bit, we're in the playoff era. We're in the 12-team playoff era. So it ain't a situation where you gotta do a knee-jerk reaction and up and fire your head coach or whatever. If you can win somewhere between 9 and 10 games, you will get in the playoffs. All right. So I think it's a good move. Billy Napier, stick with them. Stick with them because there's nobody else really out there that's worth bringing in and giving a huge, large chunk of money to. And this man is recruiting on the level that he's recruiting on. I say give him a year or two. How do you feel, teacher?
I'm right along with you. And this is what year 3 or 4 for him, and for the quarterback go down, the lineman go down, and backups going there, the backups to the backup going there and playing. That goes to show you. It goes to show you that the players will play for him. Will play for him,
Mm-hmm.
and they did go in there and play for him. And I feel like you got to give a coach a chance. 1 or 2 years, 3 years, even 4 years. You got to
Mm-hmm.
give a coach a chance. Now, unlike Oklahoma State, uh, Gundy been there for over 5 or 6 years. What has he delivered for Oklahoma State?
Oh,
Think about it.
Mike Gundy been there almost 20 years, man.
What has he delivered
A couple of New Year's,
out of them 20 years?
a couple of New Year's Six bowl games. I think, if I'm not mistaken, 2 Big 12 titles. Am I correct, Sniper? Since Gundy has been there, maybe 2 Big 12.
Yeah, I think it's about one or two.
Yeah, one or
Um,
two. Yeah.
but I think with the thing with Gundy is that he's he's consistent with his 8 to 9 wins since he's been with Iowa State.
Hmm.
I don't think he ever had a losing season
No,
since
no,
he's been since he's been there.
no.
But some some teams are championship happy. Does that make sense? That's all they want is championships, and if they don't get a championship, it's the head coach's fault,
Hmm.
and they're ready to get rid of them. Other teams are like, listen, as long as we have a successful year, and it goes from where, and like you just said, it's 12 teams now, so you don't have to go undefeated to go to the playoffs, especially if they're going to go to 16 in the next year or two. You don't
Hmm.
have to go undefeated. You just got to be in the top two in your division, if that. But giving that head coach the opportunity to change that program and have success, you can't be consistent if you continue changing out your coaches.
Hmm. Absolutely. And not only would I run it back with Billy Napier, sniper, I would run it back with that entire staff. I would bring that entire staff back, especially that defensive coordinator. Because if you look at the games as the season progressed, that defense improved. After that A&M game, that defense was playing lights out. That defense improved. Last week, uh, you got to take in consideration they were playing with a lot of backups. So yeah, they gave up 34 points to Georgia, but you got to take in consideration what would have happened if the starters would have been out there. That could have been a much lower scoring game. That could have been maybe like a 17-14 game, uh, Georgia. You understand what I'm saying? We don't know if the starters would have given up 34 points. The defensive starters would have given up 34 points to Georgia. We would never know that. So I highly doubt they would have. That Florida defense is going to be a problem next year. And that offense, if everyone can stay healthy, I think they just need to recruit. Uh, be a little bit more aggressive in the transfer portal. If I'm Billy Napier, be a little bit more aggressive in that transfer portal. Add on to what you're recruiting, what you're bringing in next year. Then I think you can turn that thing around. So a lot of fan bases, they get this knee-jerk reaction, want to fire these coaches so quick after 1 or 2 years. You got to give these coaches time to build a program. You got to give them time to come in and get and recruit their people in. So I think it's a good move, keeping Billy Napier. And as far as Mike Gundy, you're correct. He's never had a losing season. D True. That's why he's still there. He's never had a losing season. They've been bowl eligible every year that he's been there. And the ceiling is not as high. The expectation at Oklahoma State is not as high as it would be at a Auburn or LSU or Georgia or Alabama or Tennessee. You got to realize Oklahoma State, they've never really been known as a football powerhouse. They're nowhere near a blue blood. So Mike Gundy, I say he's one good defensive coordinator from having this team in the playoffs on a consistent basis. That's the only missing piece
Yeah,
to me,
yeah,
fellas. A
yeah.
good
But I'm gonna ask you a
defensive
question.
coordinator.
I'm gonna ask you a question right here. Okay,
Mhm.
You're an Oklahoma State fan. Would you just be satisfied with a Big 12 championship game, making New Year's Six bowl, making bowl games, or would you want to say, "Oh, Max won the national championship"?
Can I answer that one?
Go ahead, Sniper.
As a fan, if you
Okay.
was an Oklahoma State fan, would you cause yeah,
But here's the deal. If I'm like Oklahoma's State fans, that's all they're going to accept. That's all they accept is to win, to have consistent seasons. They don't care about and you really think about it. They don't care about having a national championship because if they did, Gundy would not be there as long as he was. Me, I would like to see some championships. I waited 40 years. Excuse me. The last national championship before we won our last two was the year before I was born. So it's different. There's two different fan bases going on there. How do you feel about that, um, Armando?
You're absolutely right, man. Everybody can't win a national title. Look how long Georgia fans had to wait. Look how long Auburn fans had to wait. But there were some close calls in between, from 1957 to 2010. We talking from 1980 to 2021. That was over what, 40 years. That was
Yeah.
41 years we had to wait. So everybody can't win it. Everybody can't be Alabama, Clemson, and Ohio State where they were winning like every other year back to back. LSU was winning every other year. Everybody ain't got it like that. But I tell you what, like I said earlier, if this man, get a damn good defensive coordinator, someone that could come in, because Oklahoma State, they're gonna always score points on you. That one thing we know, Oklahoma State is going to always be able to put up points on you. If they can figure it out on defense, they're going to run that Big 12 for many years. All right, let's continue.
Uh, yeah. Florida did a good job keeping him, but yeah, we see what the next 2 years for Napier. Napier.
Yeah, yeah. I say let's wait it out because he got a good class coming in next year. All right, next question. And I'm gonna start off with you, D Troop, and then I'm gonna go to Sniper. Carson Beck has become the weakest link on the UGA offense, yes or no?
I'm gonna say yes. He's too predictable. He's too predictable. And if the offense court you keep the ball in his hand, you're gonna wonder what he's gonna do. Is he gonna throw an interception, or is he gonna make a complete pass, or he gonna be able to throw it down the field, get a big chunk of yards off of somebody? You never know what you're gonna get for Carson Beck, but the defense know what he's gonna do, especially if Georgia's not running the ball. Okay, he ain't finna run. He ain't finna run for no yardage. So guess what? He'll send up. He hasn't changed his game. He never. I haven't seen him do like past Georgia quarterback does. If you don't, nobody open down the field, get out of the pocket and get some parts of the yardage. I haven't seen him do that this year. So he's the weakest link on that offense.
Sniper?
As y'all figured out, I'm not going to bash this young man. One thing has changed is, and again, we talked about this earlier. I'm not bashing Bobo, but we changed the um, offensive scheme on Carson Beck. If you remember from last year, we was run first, run first, run first, pass the ball, let him get dink and dunk it, let him get into some type of rhythm, and then we start hitting him downfield. Now we're going pass, pass, pass. Has he digressed? Yes, he has digressed. I don't think he changed with the offensive scheme that Bobo brings to the table. And remember, Bobo was this way before he left. When he was here the first time with Mark Rick, he was a pass happy dude, and we had running backs. But with that said, I'm not going to say he's the weakest link on the offense because again, if I watched this a content creator earlier and put half of the blame on Carson Beck, half of the blame on the receivers. So how do we say? And this guy's very knowledgeable, broke every interception down. So how can we say he's the weakest link if half of his receiving, if the interception is blamed on the receivers? And he just didn't say it just to be saying it. He actually broke down the whole every interception from Alabama on to last week in Florida.
Okay. Now this question is not bashing because what I'm about to say is no different than what other I say several other Georgia dog casters have said. Some dog casters have even went further than what I'm about to go. All right, so it's not bashing. It's a I think it's a fair statement, a fair question. Uh, because if you turn on any college football show, they're basically repeating the same thing. Um, and when I say weakest link, I mean the one that has become more of a liability to the offense. Now, let's look at and we're not just looking at the interceptions. If you look at the Bama game, the fumble that he made, no Tide player was around him. He was basically had a first down, and he just fumbled the ball. He fumbled the ball. There have been miscues. There have also been plays where the other team has the other DBs have dropped the ball. Let's go back to the Kentucky game where he threw the ball right to the cornerback, Kentucky cornerback, and he dropped the ball. Let's go back to the Middle Tennessee, I think it was Middle Tennessee State. Uh, threw the ball right to the defender, but he dropped the ball. Texas actually should have had 5 interceptions instead of 3. 2 were thrown right to the man's hand and he dropped it. Florida actually could have had, I counted maybe like 6, where 3 they were dropped. And remember, those were backups. Now, you also got to take into consideration he's a 5th-year senior. Now, I know he's only started 2 years, but how many other quarterbacks started 2 years and they were on top of their game? Coming into this season, he was projected to be the front runner for the Heisman, the number 1 pick in the draft, the best quarterback in Georgia UGA history, and the SEC. He was projected to do all of that, and he regressed. Now you want to blame it on Bowers and Lad McConkey, but you still got weapons around you. Like I said, if you give these same weapons that Georgia has to Cam Ward would still be putting up Heisman numbers. I spoke about this last week. With Carson Beck, he's playing hero ball, Sniper. He's trying to create highlights where there are not any. He's trying to create plays where there's not a play. Throwing in, now I can see if it was a 50-50 ball and the DB goes up and makes a great play like Darrell Green or a Richard Sherman type play. I can understand that. But when you are trying to force feed the ball in between 3 defenders, you're becoming a liability. It ain't bashing, it's just the facts. And I it's just facts. I'm not bashing the kid. I think he has the skill set to be better. I think all he has to do, Sniper, is stop turning the ball over. He has a hell of a cannon for an arm, great arm, tremendous arm strength. He has great in intermediate routes. He has great accuracy. Coming into the season, his only flaw, if you go back to the August show that we did, his only flaw and question mark was the deep ball. Now it done went from the deep ball to decision making. It ain't got nothing to do with his skills. It's the decision making. If he was to just quit turning the damn ball over, because think about it, take away those interceptions against Texas. Georgia would have won that game probably 30-6. Texas would not have gotten in the end zone because each time Texas scored, they scored on the short field. Now, the first one, I don't blame him for. That dumb squib kick, whoever idea that was, it was dumb. But the interception, you know, and you can blame that on Arian Smith, but the ball, I think that ball would have been intercepted either way because it was off target. It was off target. Even the announcer said it. They said, yeah, Arian Smith made a wrong turn, but the ball was off target. Like a lot of the balls that he's thrown. I don't know what happened after that bye week. If you look at the bye week between the Kentucky, after the Kentucky game, that bye week after the Kentucky game to last week, something is off with the kid. Something. The decision making. If he was to quit turning the ball over, Georgia would be unstoppable. That's why I would have to agree with D. True. Right now, he is a liability and the weakest link on that offense because nobody, who else has turned the ball over? Ain't no running back. Nate Frazier ain't fumbling the ball. Trevor Etienne ain't fumbling the ball. Cash Jones ain't fumbling the ball. The receivers ain't catching and fumbling the ball like the problems that we had with Matt Landers and Tyler Simmons, them back in the days where they would catch the ball and fumble it. Nobody else has turned the ball over but Carson. And it's due to bad decision making. That's one thing the film guy said. That's BA, Michael Griffith. They've all said that. Big dog Brett, they've all said that. They've all said that. Rusty Manziel, all of them, every dog caster has said that the decision making is the problem with him. The bad decision making, trying to create something where it ain't. And I don't know if he's trying to pad stats or he's trying to, create highlights for the NFL scouts. I don't know what it is, but it's hero ball and it's selfish ball. Cut down on the turnovers, go for the check downs. Take the sack. Do you know Tom Brady was one of the most sacked quarterbacks of all time in the NFL? But guess what? He's the GOAT. He considered the GOAT. Joe Montana, a lot of times, it wasn't there. What he'd do, he'd take the sack. There's nothing wrong with taking a sack. Just take the sack. I would rather you take the sack than to make a dumb throw down the field, throwing him in triple coverage. That's all I'm saying. Better decision making. But he got the skills. He's a good quarterback if he would just calm down and quit playing hero ball. Anybody gonna push back?
I totally agree. We got to stop forcing it. Take the easy route than trying to be the Captain Save a GA. You got enough weapons around you to make plays for you. Allow them to make plays. Just like we were saying, at the beginning, Arian Smith. We didn't think, fast as all get up, but couldn't catch a cold. He's catching balls now.
Mm-hmm.
You have Humphreys is back from the illness he had. We got enough. I just think if you say he's making wrong decisions, I agree with that. You say he trying to do some bonehead plays. I agree with that.
But I would rather have that problem than to have the problem that some of these other coaches have with their quarterbacks, because that can easily be cleaned up just like that.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Uh-huh.
Do you think, and the only reason why I'm asking you this question is because I read an article on it a couple of days ago and was going to call you and talk about it with you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think backup quarterback or one of our backup quarterback is the answer? That goes for you and D-Truth.
D-Truth, do you want to take this first?
I better answer that.
The
Answer the
backup.
first.
Do you think is do you think
The back.
huh?
Give him a shot. Give him a shot. What else could hurt?
What?
Give him a shot.
Dietrich,
Give him a shot. What else gonna hurt?
that we're.
What else would it hurt? What? Hey,
I mean,
what?
You normally wouldn't go there though, Deetru. You don't believe you would normally,
Yeah,
say let's stick with the starter and get you don't believe in switching out quarterbacks or coaches. This is a new
yeah. But I look at it like this. I've been through this already. You know that, right? And what what we see is what he don't regress. All that first coming into the season with all that hype, and he's trying to prove himself, trying to push forward, trying to do this, and nobody sitting him down and say, "Hey, calm down. You're not all that." Nobody giving him a reality check. Maybe send his butt down on the bench will get him a reality check.
Dietrich,
Sometimes a player like that need a reality. Sometimes a player like that reality check because he
can I,
pressing too hard. Bring him
Dietrich,
back down, bring him back down to earth.
but not when you are a playoff contenders. You're not going to change the dynamics of your offense just like that. Just to say, let's see what else can it hurt. You are not going to change if Auburn
You
was
said change the dynamic. Hand it to
no.
the running back. Hand it to the running back. Simplify the plays. Hand it to the running back.
mm, I, I,
Yo,
I
they ain't been handing the running back while he's out there. What, had it been handing the running back while he's out there? No.
it's a difference
They're putting the
between
ball in his hand.
a running back and it's a difference between a running back and a quarterback, bro. There's a big difference. But
They show
if Auburn,
hadn't been handing the running back.
so if
Hey,
Auburn,
I call my team what they do.
but your team is not a playoff contender team as of right today.
But hold on. I'm gonna tell you something. You guys want to know this. How many times have I called Auburn out for when it was a contention about the bullshit they been doing? They've been doing. I don't sugarcoat nothing. You and my team. If a player play back, if they was in this situation, I'd say the same doggone thing. Especially in this situation.
I,
Especially when a player got the big head like he do.
I've
Preseason and Heisman candidate. You don't go into his head think he. Oh man, I'm not finna see her baby pussy for the babysit this man. I'm not finna this man. Yeah, you throw the ball. One blame other Georgia sportscaster that you listen to. Oh, they want to put the blame on the receiver for the interception. Okay, quarterback. Yeah, sometimes it goes out the receiver's hand. It goes to the defensive back. But who fault it is if the is thrown behind the receiver and not the fault? Who fault is throwing an interception? Sometimes it's the receiver fault. Who fault it is? Oh, he got an open lane, don't want to run, and not the running back of the receiver fault. It's his fault. Sometimes you got to start culling these prima donnas and start crowning them early in the season. Talk about what round they go in. Maybe you get some play out of them, and that's the problem.
so
Hey, I
so in
said
your
what I said. I meant
so
what.
in your
I'm not
logic,
finna color him.
your team Auburn is 10-1 right now, and just because your quarterback is not the most impressive on the team, you're gonna say put your backup in and see what he can do. And if you lose that game, what do you do then? All right, you know what?
Oh well, guess what? Guess what? Guess what? I've been through that this year. Guess what? Oh well, guess what? It did. It
Hey,
probably didn't work, but guess what? Put it this way. Look, if y'all lose rest of our games, and as uh, he's the starter, then what? Then
let,
what you gonna? Then what? Oh, you see what I'm saying? So
let, let,
it ain't no loss. There ain't no
let,
loss on it.
let me say something real quick. Let me say something real quick. Okay. All right. Now, Sniper, I'm gonna answer your question like this. All right. Now, at one time I did agree with D True, but I'm going back to that I'm going back to last week to the Florida game, okay? And no, I go back further than that, the Bama game. Okay, it's early in the season, September. Okay. Carson Beck had a terrible first half. Terrible, terrible first half. I just knew we was gonna see Gunner walk out that tunnel as the starter because Kirby did it. Kirby has replaced quarterbacks in the middle of the season before. For those of you that don't know, he did it with Lambert his first year, the season opener. Lambert stunk it up in the first half. Eason, in comes Eason. Same thing, 2020. DeJuan Mathis stunk it up in the first half down in Little Rock. In comes Stetson. 2020, later on that season, Stetson, his play start falling off, throwing interceptions, making bad decisions. In comes JT Daniels. Kirby will pull a quarterback if he feels that quarterback is not getting the job done. If he feels that the player behind him is ready, he will pull the trigger. Evidently, for us to not see Gunner or Rashada in the second half of that Bama game, as bad as Carson was playing, that tells me one thing. They not ready. Because if they were, Kirby would have gave him the nod. Because he's done it before. We talk about Grayson Lambert. Grayson Lambert was a 6-year starter. He was the starter the prior year. And Kirby in game one, he pulled the trigger and brought Eason in. So I don't, from what judging from that alone, we may have to ride it out with Carson. Then, like I said, Sniper, the problems with Carson, the problems that Carson has, it's not major. It can be straightened out. Go for the check downs, take the sack, hand the ball off, or just like D-Truth said, just tuck the ball and run. 2 yards is better than nothing. 3 yards is better than nothing. But his issues are not that bad to the point where he needs to be benched, like a lot of Dogs fans are calling for him to be benched. I think the issues can be straightened out. If Georgia play that game tomorrow, and listen to me real good, Georgia play that game tomorrow against Ole Miss, and Carson does not throw any interceptions, don't turn the ball over, Georgia will win that game. Georgia can beat anybody as long as they don't turn the ball over. The reason why I say that, if they wouldn't have turned that ball over against Bama, you take away the interceptions, take away the fumble. If Georgia don't turn the ball over against Bama, they beat Bama by 2 touchdowns. No doubt in my mind. That can be cleaned up easily. It's not that he don't have the skills. He has the skills. It's not that he's a terrible quarterback. He's a good quarterback, a great quarterback. He just needs to calm down. Salute to you, Chappelle. He needs to just calm down and quit trying to play hero ball. He has that Brett Favre syndrome right now. Remember, Brett Favre used to do that crap, playing hero ball and, becoming a liability. He was becoming a liability for Green Bay at one time. So, quarterbacks can do that.
Hey, and another thing I know, to take pressure off of him, run the damn ball.
Yeah. They
Run the
gonna
damn
have
ball.
to tomorrow. They're gonna have to. They got to run. That's imperative. They got to run that ball tomorrow. They got to go to the ground on Ole Miss because that's going to be the best defensive front that we faced all season. That Ole Miss defensive front.
Better than the Clemson defense front.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
look. I got it. I got to make sure I hear this right.
Yeah.
Hey, D Truth. Dartmouth is beating Princeton. Just want to let you know, 14-7.
Hey, like I said though, that's go for any football team, Georgia, any football team. To take pressure off the quarterback, you got to run the ball.
Hmm.
Don't put it all on the quarterback. Got to run the ball. That's in the team.
All right, we're gonna go on to the next question. All right, I'm gonna start with you, Sniper. The ACC will get two teams in the CFP playoffs, or no? It's done come down between SMU and a one-loss SMU team with a signature win. With a signature win over Pitt, they beat the brakes off Pitt last Saturday and the undefeated Miami team. Can both of them get in? Can both of them get into the playoffs?
And now I don't know SMU schedule, but they don't play Miami at all this year. Am I correct?
Not in the regular season. They will see them in Charlotte.
Because Clemson lost last weekend, right?
Yeah, Clemson out. They done. They done.
This is what I'm going to. This is how they get into this playoffs. If two teams from the ACC will get in, if SMU beat Miami in the ACC championship, that's the only way. If Miami and Cam Ward beat SMU in Charlotte, then I don't. I think it's only be one team. That's the only way I see it happening.
D True.
I'm gonna say this right here. SMU and Miami, they both got to win out. Cause if one team loses and make the conference championship game, whoever there already got whoever that got lost got to win that championship game to get in the playoff. Other than that, I see two teams from ACC getting in, which is SMU and Miami.
I agree with Sniper, and here's where this could hurt. This could potentially hurt a two-loss SEC team. And Missouri fans, listen up. If SMU upsets Miami and Charlotte, two will definitely get in because I do not see this committee leaving Miami out. You got the Cam Ward factor, which Cam Ward is going to be a Heisman finalist. So that's a draw. You also got to look at the draw. This right here. Miami is a good draw in the playoffs. That Miami TV market is going to be huge. SMU, that Dallas TV market, huge. They're going to draw. They're going to draw viewers because they have not been at this point. They have not been this close to playing for a national title since 1982 when the Eric Dickerson and Craig James was there. But this would hurt a two-loss SEC team. Somebody, some two-loss SEC team is going to be on the outside looking in if that happens. So, yes, it's a possibility it could happen. I have to agree with Sniper. If SMU beats Miami, yes, it could happen. Because if Indiana beats Michigan and Indiana beats Michigan tomorrow, you can almost guarantee that the Big Ten will at least get three teams in. That's Oregon, Ohio State, and Indiana. The only way. Now, yeah, they would get in. I think a two-loss Ohio State team would still get in. Ohio State could lose to Indiana, still get in because they have a signature win against Penn State on the road. So, yeah.
Okay, let's discuss that real quick. Real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you just said and I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. If Ohio State loses to Indiana, there's still a possibility that Ohio State gets in.
Yeah, because they have that signature win against Penn State. That committee is two things that the reason why I feel that they'll put Ohio State in. Number one, the draw. It don't make dollars. Ohio State in the playoffs draw money. Number two, you cannot erase the fact that whatever that is loud in the background. Whatever that is loud. You cannot erase the fact that Ohio State went into Happy Valley, and in my opinion, when the other team ain't able to score, you being dominated. They went into Happy Valley and controlled that game for 4 quarters. So they had Penn State
I
kick a
would
field goal.
disagree. I would disagree with you. I think if Indiana beats Ohio State, it's going to take a little bit more than one impressive win and one impressive loss for them to get in. I do believe that they're going to have to do a lot more than they're going to have to beat Indiana to get in, regardless.
Well, you,
But
you got to look at it like this. Okay, so Indiana right now, they're in the top 10 in the college football rankings. So if Indiana beats Michigan tomorrow, they're going to move up a couple of notches. So let's just say if Ohio State loses a close game, because if Indiana beat Ohio State, I don't see the only way that the committee will leave Ohio State out if Indiana do to them what Iowa did to them a couple of years ago and beat the brakes off of them by 30 some points. Now, yeah, I can see a scenario where Ohio State getting left out. But if Indiana, remember that, if I'm not mistaken, I think that, yeah, the game is in Columbus. But if Indiana wins a close one by a field goal or even in overtime, you got to look at the losses. They lost a close one to Oregon, lose a close one to Indiana, and I don't see them leaving them out. That's just my opinion. I don't see them leaving them out. But Indiana needs the win tomorrow against Michigan. They need that. They win that game, and I'm looking at what they got left. They in. They in. They are in. They in. And now, as far as that Ohio State game, how they play, if they win, they go into Indy and they automatically in. But if they lose and they lose close by a razor thin margin, they could have a possibility of being a much higher seed, because remember they would only have one loss because they won't be going to Indy. They won't go to Indy to pick up that second loss against Oregon. You feel what I'm saying? they would be ranked a little higher than what a lot of people thought they would be. And they would be hosting a playoff game. Yep. They'll be 11-1.
yeah, I just have to look at it just a little bit more in detail. I see what you're saying, and don't think that I'm disagreeing with you. I'm just I can't wrap my head around Ohio State winning or losing and still getting in just because they had 2 impressive losses. I think that the committee's going to look at it and be like, okay, you had one good game against Oregon, but you lost to Indiana, who hasn't been in anybody's conversations until this year. Um, and then you got to see what the other 4 conferences is going to put out. Because if that's the case, then every team should lose, but lose close. You know what I'm saying? And hope that they like the way you lost.
Yeah, but that close loss was to the number 1 ranked team, a team that a lot of them feel like is the best team in the nation.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the next question.
And for that Miami Georgia Tech game, Hines King is still questionable for that game.
I think 9 times out of 10 he'll play.
Say
Um,
say it again.
Hines King is questionable for that the Miami Georgia Tech game. So it's questionable that Georgia Tech starting quarterback will play.
okay. Now the major factor in that game will be Justice Haynes. Justice Haynes will be the major factor in that game because Miami has had issues stopping the run.
And he's questionable too.
Okay. If he doesn't play, then Georgia Tech will not win that game. They're gonna need him in order to beat Miami. Georgia Tech, the injury bug is derailed their season. The injury bug has derailed their season tremendously. All right, D Troop, I'm gonna let you take this first one. Colorado has a legitimate shot at making the CFP playoffs in 2024. Yes or no? Got on mute.
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes. They got a shot. They got a shot. They got a shot. I look at it, they win. They next. They win. They went out. They in. They went out. They in. They do not have luxury of losing one to get in. They got to win out. They got to win out. At least one win. Cause I'm looking at their opponents. The rest of the opponents they got. None of the rest of the opponent are ranked. They got Texas Tech tomorrow. Got Utah who don't fell off, right? Then
Mm-hmm.
got Kansas. Then in the season with Oklahoma State. So uh, the only team they got a winning record is Texas Tech. Utah is 4-4, and rest of the team they play is got a losing record. So they cannot afford to lose any of them games, especially to unranked team who got a losing record. Got a losing record. So they got a shot at getting in there.
Snipe.
Yes, I'm going to say that Colorado um, barely makes it in. And the reason why I said they barely makes it in because yes, they have won against Kansas State, who is ranked. Um, Nebraska, who was ranked at the beginning when they played them. They have not played anybody that's in the top 10. And the committee's going to look at it and say, who did you play? Um, and so I think they're going to be edged out. I think Colorado at the end of the season is going to be 13. And that's harsh to say because they have turned that program around. They're bowl eligible. But I think that they're going to be 13 come the end of the season because they don't have nothing unless a whole bunch of teams in front of them loses. At the end of the day, Colorado hasn't had anybody that's in that top 10, top 15 that they're going to play that help them advance their rankings um, by the end of the season.
Um. Oh, I think both of you all are right, but I think Colorado's only path right now, being that they already have 2 losses, they got to run the table. They got to run the table the rest of the way in the regular season. Go to Dallas, and they gotta figure out a way to beat BYU. They gotta run the table the rest of the way because the 2 losses were ugly. They were blown out against Nebraska. I know that was on the road, but still, blowout is a blowout. And they were beat down by Kansas State. Those were 2 ugly losses that the committee is going to look at. Then they're also going to look at who you beat. Um, they need the win against Texas Tech. Texas Tech got pretty much a winning season, a winning record so far. Go in to love it. Take care of business against Texas Tech. That's going to be a tough, hostile environment tomorrow. But they got to take care of business. And then they got to beat Utah. Their resume will look a lot better with the win over Texas Tech and Utah. And then take care of Oklahoma State. That record is going to look tremendously much better by the end of the season. Then you go into Dallas in a must-win game, and you take care of BYU, which I think, in my opinion, I think Colorado has the offense. It's going to come down, can they defense slow BYU down enough? But that offense, they have so many weapons on that offense that I don't see too many teams in that Big 12 that can slow that offense down. I don't see a defense in the Big 12 that could slow that offense down. The only defense that could probably come close to slowing that offense down is BYU. But it will be on a neutral site. So, and pretty much a home game for prime time because they're going to be in Dallas, and that place is going to be on fire, and the crowd is going to be 100% behind Dion because he's a hero to a lot of people in Dallas, Texas. So I think they got a chance to get in there, but they got to run the table. They got that much of a chance, but they got to run the table.
I'm gonna say this right here. So who that? Our state, right? Our state had lost. Our state lost to Texas Tech, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Colorado beat Texas Tech,
Mm-hmm.
and our state and Colorado are tied at the end of the year, Colorado would get the nod for that Big 12 championship game
Mm-hmm.
because of them virtually being a common opponent since they don't play each.
Yep.
Yeah, so Colorado. Thing about it, Colorado control their own destiny right now. They control their own destiny.
Yep.
It I don't. It's feel good when a team can control their own destiny, and you go. They got their path,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking at Iowa State and BYU opponents that they play and their record, right? Iowa State, like I said, Iowa State got Utah. They got Kansas this week. They got Cincinnati, which got a winning record. At the end of the season, I would say end of the season with Kansas State, which is ranked number 19. So
Mm-hmm.
right now, so right now, Colorado controls their own destiny.
Mm-hmm.
They control their own destiny. So you can't paint a better picture for Colorado right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's better to be able to control your own destiny than needing help from other teams like Missouri.
But I think that Colorado do need help from other teams. I still think they need help because again, they're gonna need teams in the top 12 to lose multiple games so that they can bump up higher each game that they win. And
It
again, they got to win out for the rest of the season. But they're gonna need teams in the top 12 to be bumped out of it so they can get closer and closer by the end of the season.
well, if they win out and goes to Dallas to beat BYU, guess what? They don't need no help. They
don't need
in.
no help. Yeah, that what I was about to say. If they run the table, that's why I said if they run the table the rest of the way, I'm not looking for them to get in at large bid or a lower seed or whatever. It's all or nothing. They got to get to that fourth seed. They got to win the Big 12. They win the Big 12, Sniper. They don't need no help. Not only will they be in, they'll be in with a bye as a fourth seed. Yep. And that win over Texas Tech tomorrow would give them the tiebreaker over Iowa State. So yeah, they control their own destiny.
So, not to beat a dead horse, but you two you're saying that if they win out and win the conference championship, that you think that they're going to get into the top 12 with 2 losses?
They would
The
uh
top four will have the top four seed.
the big the Big 12 sniper, the Big 12 champion is guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. The Big 12 champion will get either the one, two, three, or fourth seed. That's a power four conference.
Okay. No, no, no. Okay, I didn't. I was not going off of that question. I was just going off of can they make it as of today. That's my bad.
Yeah, as of today, they still have a chance. They need to run the table. That's what I said earlier. They run the table, and think about it now. They're the lower half of their schedule. The back end of their schedule is the toughest part of their schedule. So as they pile up some wins against those remaining opponents, Texas Tech, Utah, Oklahoma State, and Kansas, going into Dallas, they will be inside that top 12 because you're going to have other teams dropping out. You're going to have other teams dropping out by then because they're going to be cannibalizing each other. So with Colorado moving up and that set up that showdown in Dallas, they beat BYU. They're in automatically. Now the question becomes if BYU goes in there 12-0, what is the committee going to do with BYU? Will they still be in? That's the question. if they go to Dallas and Colorado beat them, and BYU is standing there 12-1 with a win, a decisive win over SMU, what is that committee going to do? What is that committee going to do with BYU?
They would probably have to put them in 5 through 8.
Yeah, and that once again, that's what I'm saying. So you looking at a possibility where if Indiana beats Michigan, 3 Big Ten teams, that's 3 coming out of the Big Ten. All right. So if SMU upsets Miami and Charlotte, that's 2 coming out of the ACC. Colorado run the table, upset BYU and Dallas. That's going to be 2 from the Big 12. That means it's going to be some very, very unhappy fan bases in the ACC because there's going to be a 10-2 team that deservingly that we all thought would get in, walk in easily, that won't be walking in easy.
I'm gonna say this right here.
No room at
Now,
the table.
check this out. Now, here's another team that controls their own destiny. Notre Dame cannot afford to lose another game.
Yep. Forgot about Notre Dame, sniper.
Notre Dame cannot. And check this out now. They got Florida State. Hey, I ain't putting that player Florida State to beat Notre Dame. Then they got Virginia. Then they got Army. Then they got USC at the end of the year.
Yeah. The only tough opponent that I see on that schedule is Army. USC don't have enough to beat Notre Dame. None of them other teams have enough to beat Florida State. Damn sure don't have enough to beat. The only one that I see to have a chance of eliminating Notre Dame is Army. Now remember, Notre Dame already has a loss against Northern Illinois, so that's another team you got to add to the equation. So Georgia fans, this notion that Georgia can lose that game tomorrow against Ole Miss and still get in, that ain't looking too good. I wouldn't chance that. I wouldn't take a chance on that. I wouldn't. So I'm going into that game with the mindset that it's an elimination game. Because remember last year now, they said the same thing. Oh, Georgia can lose in Atlanta and still get in. What happened? There wasn't enough room at the table. So I think we heading in that direction again, even with the 12-team playoff.
Well, with the amount that you said 2, you said 3 from ACC or 2 from the ACC, right?
2 from the ACC. three
Okay.
from the Big Ten.
Three from Big Ten. So that's five.
All right, a possibility of two from the Big 12.
That is seven. And how many you think from the ACC
One,
or
one.
SEC?
Don't forget about Notre Dame. That's nine. That's nine spots gone.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Notre Dame nine.
All right. And then you got the 12 team. You got that P5 school that go at the 12th spot.
So Boise State,
Yep. Boise State. So all you got is two spots left.
you got two spots left.
That's what I'm saying. Two spots left. That's for the participants in Atlanta, the winner of Atlanta, and the runner up.
So it's main course. And
Saying.
Yeah. Hey, I know. Trust me. I agree with you. Just taking your numbers and thinking about the teams that you put in there and who's going to get left out.
Mm,
Now,
And check this. Go ahead, Nate.
so
oh,
that should be your next question.
that was
And or tomorrow's question, if you can put down and we could think about it for a little bit. What team is going to be left out?
And
What
and,
team is going to get left out?
and
well, the thing is, I'm telling you who will be left out. Whoever don't make it to Atlanta.
mm,
Because if it's only two spots left, it's going to be the two SEC championship participants. Now that you have a round robin and no divisions, the two best teams will get in will go to Atlanta. The two best teams out of the SEC will go to Atlanta. And 9 times out of 10, them two best teams will end up in the playoffs.
But that's only if those two best teams have a record that permits them to be in the playoffs. Only reason I say that is because let's just say I don't know
Put it like this.
is
Put it
out of
like this. We looking at right now Georgia. Let's just say, okay, Georgia, Tennessee, A&M, Tennessee. All right. Either Georgia or Tennessee, one of them is going to run the table and be 11-1. Between Texas A&M and Texas, well, you know what? Texas, if they run the table and finish 11-1, all right. So you got an 11-1 Texas team, an 11-1 Tennessee or Georgia team. Two 11-1 teams will go to Atlanta. They in.
mhm.
No
And
matter
check
what
this out.
happens, they both in.
And check this out. Georgia State got to play Nevada. You know how tough Nevada is. The record
Mhm.
don't show it. And then they got to go to San Jose State, who got a winning record. Then they got to go to Wyoming. Nah. Then they got to play Oregon State.
Mhm.
So Georgia State got to win out. Georgia State don't have no choice but to win out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because especially when you got the American Conference sitting there with Tulane undefeated in the conference, Army undefeated overall. You
Mhm.
see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And just think if Army beat Notre Dame.
but this
Yeah.
is the only thing I should say about that that 12th seed. I'm not worried. That first team is that 12th team to get in. That's automatically you automatically give it to one of these lower conference teams. I'm not too worried about that because eventually they're going to have to build these teams up to get them into the Power Five conference, like they're trying to get the Pac-12 back. These teams are going to have to get in the conference because I don't think that these these commissioners, the conference commissioners, going to keep saying, "Okay, we go out here and bust our tails every day, and this team can float around and win and play who they want to, and not play too many power conference teams." I don't think they're going to allow that too much longer.
Yeah. No, Notre Dame is taking a slot from a deserving team. They're gonna do that. They're gonna take a spot from a deserving team, and they've done it before. They've done it before. It's happened. It's happened several times.
Yeah. Georgia State is part of the Mountain West. Army part of the American Conference. Then you got other conference that teams are part of, and Notre Dame not part of. Although they do play an ACC schedule, but they're not part of the ACC. Only time they part of the ACC is part doing other sports.
My thing is, if they're gonna play an independent schedule, then they need to be required to play a team from each Power Four conference. Meaning they need to have a team on their schedule from the Big Ten, or let's just say two from the Big Ten, two from the ACC, two from the Big 12, and two from the SEC. That's how they need to run that.
I 100% agree with you.
Yeah,
And
that's
then,
how, that's
well, but
that's
then
what
you got
they
to think
need.
about it.
If you're not gonna join the conference, you need to play a schedule where you're playing two teams from each Power Four conference.
And guess what? It's only three teams that's not in the conference. That's them, Connecticut, and UMass.
And UMass done played what, three
No,
or
no,
four SEC schools this year.
I'm finna tell you in a minute. I'm finna tell you. Hold on. I'm getting that
Georgia
schedule. Hold
probably
on.
be number four. You know, UMass will play anybody. That's one thing
They,
about that. They
hey,
play
they,
anybody.
they play Missouri, Mississippi State, and they play y'all the
Yeah,
23rd.
three SEC schools. Mhm.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you totally, Armando. Any team that wants to be in the conference got to play, and I think that should go all the way around instead of having the I don't know the UMasses and the Boston College. Um, no, well, not Boston College. They started off pretty good, but you know what I mean. These smaller schools paying them $33 million just to come down for a warm up
Mhm.
game. Nah, take those games and take a team from each conference and put and replace them. Now you
Mhm.
know who. Now you can say you played the best teams in each conference.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep. And check this out. Now UConn, who is part of the Big Ten, right?
Mhm.
They played Duke, Wake Forest. They got to play Syracuse. But Notre Dame ain't played nobody like this at the ACC schedule. But I'm saying, if you're gonna be independent, you gotta play some hard team just so you show your worth. But
Mhm.
hey, anything can go, anything can go. But I tell you, Notre Dame loses in the game, they out. Do
Mhm.
y'all agree with me?
Yeah. Yeah. Notre Dame lose. They done. They done because that they have the worst loss out of every team that's in the top 12 right now. They have the worst loss. Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois ain't nowhere near ranked in the AP. Nowhere near ranked. All right. So let's get ready to pick these games. Uh, First up, Cal, Wake Forest.
I'm gonna go to back.
All right. Sniper.
I'm gonna get them Bears.
And it's gonna be I guess that's gonna be a clean sweep because I'm rolling with the Bears also. They're better than what their
Hey,
records.
I thought I thought you going with them Demon Deacons.
Nah, uh-uh. All right. And the main event of the evening, Iowa Hawkeyes, UCLA in Pasadena, below the San Gabriel Mountains. Who you got, Sniper? Iowa, UCLA.
You know what? I'm tired of picking Iowa because every time I pick Iowa, they find a way to lose. Give me the Hawkeyes.
That was a good pump fake. D True.
Yeah. You know what? Two Bears on the same time at the same time, huh? So that's a UCLA and a Cal, huh? Hmm. I gotta go with the Hawks. I gotta go with the Hawks. I gotta go with the Hawks. I gotta go with the Hawks, bro. We gotta go to the Hawks.
Why did
Well,
you just sound like radio?
well, you know that old saying, defense travels. You know, Iowa's offense has been improving as the season goes on, but that defense is always going to travel. I'm rolling with the Hawkeyes. I rolled the Hawkeyes. I got rolled the Hawkeyes. Hawkeyes over the UCLA Bruins.
Um, Playoff placement uh, this upcoming Tuesday. I know they didn't spend too much time on it because of the election, but how did
Mm.
y'all feel about it?
I Me personally, man, I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't have a problem with Ohio State being put in front of Georgia. It didn't bother me because everything is gonna work itself out. Ohio State has Indiana, and then they have a rematch with Oregon. Georgia has they have Ole Miss, Tennessee. I think if they take care of business against Ole Miss and Tennessee, it's a possibility they could move up to number two. Um, the only way that they would be able to overtake Oregon is if Oregon loses. But as long as Oregon remains undefeated, they look like they're going to be the number one seed. But if Georgia just take care of business, I mean, everything will work itself out. They'll be the number two seed. So it's really, it's really not much. Two seed, three seed, just win and you win. The win and you win. That's all that matters.
Yes, sir. D Truth.
I look at this right here. Like you said, Ohio State, like everybody, Ohio State, Indiana, they control, and that the way the rankings was, I'm like, okay, let's see. This team should be here. This team should be there. But guess what? It all gonna work itself out. Cause somebody the next 2 weeks gonna be slow walking and sad singing. Somebody is. I don't know who, but somebody will. And we just gonna have to see. It's back. We know how the first week of the college football playoff comes out, how it look. It doesn't look too good because I look at 1, 2, 3, and 4, Oregon and Ohio State in the Big Ten. We know that two things from two teams in the Big Ten in the top the four top slot. A Big Ten, a Big 12 team is going there. So
Mhm.
that's how I look at it. You can rank them 1 through 12 all you want to, but if anybody know the playoff, they can set it out their own mouth. The Power Four conference, the conference champion is get them for the first four slot. So Ohio State and Oregon, don't be jumping up down because y'all in the top four. One of y'all gonna be out of the top four.
Yep. They both can't make the top four. So that's why I don't have a Ohio State and Oregon. They both cannot make the top four. So one of them is definitely going to drop out. But as far as Georgia's concerned, they control their own destiny.
That's the one problem I have. Now, if you know that both two teams in the conference can't be 1 and 4, 1 through 4, why would you do that? Why would you do that already? You got four conferences
To
to
well,
go ahead and put it. And I understand that somebody's going to say, "Well, it's the drama of it all."
yeah, yeah, yeah. Drama sells. Drama sells. That's why I don't have a problem with it. I
Well, it
understand exactly what they were doing. The
yeah,
build up for the rematch.
but it's still again, you got four conferences. Each one of those conferences get a 1 through 4. Why did we leave off a conference just to say, "Oh, let's work on the build up. Let's work on the drama"? This is not a soap opera.
Well, it's two. It's okay. So what they did was Sniper. They did a top 12. They did a top 12. I mean, they did a top 20. All right, and they also did the bracket. In the bracket part of it, Georgia is number two, and Ohio State is number five. Ohio State is ranked five, and Georgia is ranked two. It was a two-part thing.
Okay.
The poll has Georgia at number three, but the rankings has Georgia number two.
Okay.
Yeah, they would be the number
They,
two.
they, they, the way, and I'm just remembering that's how because I just looked at the bracket and I was like, okay, they're not in the top. Ohio State's not in the top four.
Not no, not in the
Yeah.
bracket.
Okay. That's where
So
that's
that's
how it
why
had me
I would
confused when
just
you're saying
do.
it.
Yeah, that's why if I don't know why they're doing it, doing the poll. Let the AP do the poll, and I would just do bracket. If I'm the committee, I'm just doing bracketology. I'm just doing the brackets. I'm taking what the AP has, and I'm doing the brackets. That's how I would do it. Instead of doing their own top 20, it makes no sense.
Gotcha.
Mhm. Yep. So, everyone, hey, it's been a great discussion. Like I said, we got two great matchups. We got a Big Ten matchup, Iowa, UCLA, and we got a ACC matchup, Cal and Wake Forest. We discussed some great topics, some teams that have a path to the playoffs. And hey, this thing has took a twist, a turn, it just flipped all the way around. Teams that I did not think had a chance in hell of getting in actually have a legitimate chance. Nobody was talking about Indiana. Nobody over here or anywhere. I didn't hear any podcasters talking about Indiana before the season. But this team, right now, they have a legitimate shot. They take care of business in Ann Arbor. They are in the playoffs. They are in. They are in. Regardless of what happens with Ohio State, they will be in. So tomorrow's a play-in game for Indiana. So this is crazy. And there's a possibility. There's a slight possibility. See, a lot of people were predicting that the SEC would get in 3, 4, maybe 5 teams. There's a possibility the SEC maybe only be able to get 2 teams, and that would be the 2 participants in Atlanta. So there's a slight possibility that could happen. So um, everyone going to go ahead and get with our final thoughts. We're going to start off with you, Sniper, then D True.
Hey, I'm just gonna keep it short. Go dogs. I'll see y'all in the morning, 9:30. Be there.
All
Be square. Get left out.
all right, brother. Enjoy your Veterans Day weekend, brother. See you tomorrow, 9:30.
Yes, sir. Sniper out.
All right.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna keep it short this week. I'm gonna go ahead and apologize for everybody that was Tuesday. I would have did it, but you already know what was on. But I will be back this Tuesday. This Tuesday, and I'm gonna talk about that Vandy game, and I got a lot of picked up aggression. Put it that way. But and on top of that, like I said, what we say over here is our opinion. But guess what? Sometimes it's truth, sometimes it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Take what you can from it. Hey, throw it away. But guess what? I got one thing, boy. I talk about that tomorrow morning on the kickoff show. Well, you know I'm about to go with that Alabama LSU thing going on. But
Yeah, yeah,
I got one thing to say.
yeah. I
War
was
Eagle.
saving that for tomorrow because that's going to be the talk of the show tomorrow.
Hey, War Eagle, baby. War Eagle.
All right. Okay, I want to thank everyone for coming out and joining us on this college football kickoff edition, Friday night edition. Week 11 is going to be epic. We have some elimination games, some situations where teams can play their way into a playoff scenario. Thank you all for coming out. For those of you men and women that have served our armed forces, thank you. First of all, I would like to say thank you and enjoy. Have a blessed and safe Veterans Day weekend. Everyone, thank you all. Make sure you hit that like button, share this video, and if you ain't subscribed, you should be ashamed of yourself. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and that way you can get notified of every time we go live over here with some great sports content. All right. So thank you all. Peace and blessings. We'll see you all tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. sharp for the Saturday morning kickoff show for my brother Sniper, my brother D Truth, my sis You Knew. She didn't get a chance to make it tonight, but we'll all be in full strength tomorrow. Back for the Saturday morning kickoff show. We got some elimination games to discuss tomorrow. So everyone, please come in and join us, and make sure that you hit that like button on your way out. Hit the comment section. Let me know what you think. Comment on the topics of what we discussed today. Indiana's chances of getting in the playoffs, Colorado's chances of getting in the playoffs, Bill Napier. Was it a good move for Scott Strickland to hold on to Bill Napier? We would love to hear your opinion on that. So for everyone here at 20s Nation Sports, I'm Armando Black. Thank you all for coming out. And like I always say, take care of yourselves and each other. One last thing. Go Dogs. Sick 'em. Woo, 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 woo. See you all tomorrow morning.